Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue to follow the athletic programs of the Tulsa Public Schools. And a very interesting show lined up for you today as we're going to be visiting with the head football coach from 3 different Tulsa Public Schools. And then we'll visit with the head coach in volleyball, we'll visit with the head coach in softball, and we'll visit with the head coach in cross country. All of that coming up right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Don't go away. We're coming right back, and we'll be talking football.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education?
What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That would be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head football coach at Central High School, Kip Shaw. And Kip, always a pleasure having you aboard. And at Central High School, I know you are looking forward to this year's season as the first year as a head coach.
Well, I appreciate you all having me, and I am. I'm looking forward to getting the season underway and seeing what we've accomplished through Summer Pride and where we are right now.
And I think our audience would enjoy knowing that this is your 5th year at Central in the football program. 4 as an assistant, now as a head coach. But you have a good background in football, don't you?
I do. I've been 4 years at Central as offensive coordinator, first year as head coach, but I spent time before that as a college coach for about 18, 20 years, moving around the country with my family. Been a part of some good programs, some top 10 NCAA programs. So, I've been pretty blessed.
Well, with that background, you know when you land, say at Central High School, and you're happy there, and you've got the kids coming. That's what it's all about in coaching, isn't it?
It is. I don't care what level what level you're at. It's always about the kids and trying to make them better and help them as they grow in life and become young men. And that's my goal at Central, is to, try and help some of these young men to be successful as they grow, graduate from high school, and move on with their life.
Kip, kind of talk about some of the kids that you have coming back, some of the players that you feel are going to make a contribution to a successful season.
Well, I'm really excited about some of the older young men. Everything starts up front. I've got a defensive lineman, Roman Crawford, who's a big, strong young man who has really grown over the summer. Chase Anthony Johnson's done a wonderful job. Kedrick Cotton, who is a good-sized young man who's going to give us some good push up front. Then I've got some great skill guys, and Andre Ramsey, who is lightning quick and can run, Cedric Ball. These are young men who have kind of grown during the summer and kind of jumped in and said, hey, we're going to be leaders, and is helping the program grow itself.
And I know anytime an assistant moves up to the head coaching ranks, that the team is pushing for you. They want you. And I'm sure that was the situation at Central, wasn't it?
I think so. It made it a smooth transition. The kids had a level of comfortable with me. Although there were a lot of things that I did change, some things that, they were probably caught them a little bit by surprise. But in the long run, I think they see now that these are things that'll help, build on the foundation that Coach Gibson set and help them, as I say, continue to grow as they move on.
Kip, kind of talk about District 4A3. As I look at it, you bounce around all over central Oklahoma, and you have a lot of road games.
We do. We have some long road games, but it's a tough district, a district where it's very competitive. You have teams like Tuttle in there who they're very strong. They have actually got an offensive lineman that I think is committed to Oklahoma State or OU. Tecumseh's tough, Bethany, Ada, some strong programs in there that week in and week out that the young men at Central have to come ready to play.
And I think it's interesting to look at what you're going to be in next year when you'll be in 4A4, and it covers from Broken Bow almost to St. Louis, doesn't it? Not quite the same, but eastern Oklahoma. So you're going to be able to, the eastern half of the state, in 2 years, you will have been all over.
We will. When I first started coaching with Coach Gibson, and we traveled that district, we were in that district when I first came around. I told him, I said, "You showing me state of Oklahoma. I'd never been to any of these parts and close to Arkansas and everywhere." But it's going to be a tough district we're moving into with some tough road games. But hopefully, as our program grows, it'll make things better.
And you have to convince your kids that the travel is not going to hurt them, that it should give them time to think and to consider, and when they get there, be ready to play, even though physically maybe it takes something out of them, but mentally, if they can be up, they can cover that.
And that's what you try and do. You get them on the bus and you try and get them to focus at certain points. I always encourage our kids to consider every game a home game, because even if we don't have, a big crowd or family there, you've got all your brothers standing on the sideline shooting and rearing for you. So hopefully, they understand that we can consider every game a home game.
Do you have your offense always the quarterback? How's your quarterback coming for this year?
Our quarterback's really, really grown over the last few weeks. He's actually a freshman who has a very good arm and can run a little bit. He's been exciting to watch. I know the receivers have been excited about him because he throws a great ball. He can really spin it. So we're excited. All City was good tests for him. And, this week against Memorial, I think will be even a better test.
And as a freshman quarterback, one thing for sure. Every practice, every game, he will mature more and he will get better.
He will. He has a great coach in James Griffith, who's his quarterback coach, and they work together a lot. And they do, he pushes him, and so that's going to help him grow even in just this year. My biggest thing with KT is just he's got to get better every week, and that's all we can ask him for.
Coach, we enjoyed having you aboard here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We'll be following the Central Braves and Kip Shaw, the head coach of the Central Braves, and look forward to having you back soon.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Stay with us. More coming up on Inside Tulsa Athletics right after this.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education?
What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue talking football, and welcome aboard the head football coach at Hale High School, Bruce Munden. And Bruce, your first year in Tulsa, and welcome aboard to Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to come to Tulsa Public Schools. I've enjoyed my experience thus far.
Well, now you came into Tulsa Public Schools from Barnesdall, and Barnesdall has had a pretty good record historically of athletics.
They have, and it all stems back to a coach that's still there and has been there 60 plus years, and that's Joe Gilbert. He built the championship 80 baseball team, the state championship softball teams. He was a football coach for years, and I mean, he does it all. And I've picked that guy's brains for years, just trying to absorb half the knowledge that he's forgotten.
Well, now you have inspired Hale High School. You have put some enthusiasm into the student body because you have more out now than they've had in many years.
I have heard that. I've heard that we've gotten more numbers. I think we're up to 42. Last year, I think the top number they reached was 31. But we have, the great thing is we have great kids. I was surprised because you always hear stories coming into bigger schools. You're gonna have discipline issues. You're gonna have this. I've got great kids. Those boys work their butts off, and they're getting better every single day. And we've got a bye week this week, which allows us an opportunity to get that much better before we play again.
Well, now talk about the All-City and the scrimmages that you've had.
We played East Central for our All-City scrimmage. We actually took the lead on them 12-0. 2 pick sixes. 2 of my young men jumped great routes, took them to the house. Then a little bit of a brawl ensued, and we kind of came out flat afterwards. Ended up losing 14-12. But I think the boys, and I think the entire school, saw what we could do if we go out and we play level-headed. And that's the way it went from then. We played our first game against Webster this last Friday. And the moment we got level-headed, we had a lot of success, both defensively and offensively. We pushed those boys hard. We dealt with low numbers at points and times during the spring and the summer and first part of the fall. But those boys that are there are working, they're getting better. And I'm telling you right now, we are going to surprise a lot of teams come district time.
Well, I thought it was interesting that after your Webster game, that Kenny Jackson, the Webster coach, he was very complimentary about Hale High School and how they played. And I think that is a compliment to you and your staff. And talk about your staff.
I actually put together a really good staff, and it's not necessarily football knowledge. I've got some high energy guys. Guys that they know football, but they are motivators, and they get the most out of kids that I've ever seen. My offensive coordinator's name is Brandon Webb. He was an all Big 12 offensive lineman at Oklahoma State. I brought in a guy from Bartlesville that was their offensive line guy. He's my linebacker guy, and he is a hard-nosed guy, wants to get after it all the time. So our linebacker play has been amazing. I actually brought back a Hale alum for our secondary. He was up at Northwestern, Oklahoma State, at Alva, didn't finish his degree, but has that experience and has that love for Hale. And it's shown with the way he talks to and he cares for these players.
You know, when you talk about Hale High School with anyone, where they refer back to the losing that they've been experiencing, how are you dealing with that?
We tell them this is a new day every day. What's happened in the past is in the past. It's like teaching life lessons that we understand bad things are going to happen, and it's how we react to those bad things and what makes us the person we are. And these boys understand that a game is a game, it's done, we move on. And every day is a new day. So just because we've lost 45 straight, 46 straight, doesn't mean the next game we're not 1-0. The record's a record. It's how we finish in life more than on the football field that matters to us.
And when that game comes, that you break that losing record, that will go down in Hale history as well as in the history of every player and coach representing Hale High School.
Exactly. We have seniors that have never seen a victory. And that's the saddest part. We've got a great group of seniors, very small group, but a great group of seniors. And they want it so bad. They wanted it at Webster, and we just couldn't get it together at Webster. At halftime it was 12-6. We had an opportunity, few errors, and all of a sudden we're down 33-6. But we again get it back to 21. But I think they see the potential that they have.
Yeah. Well, Bruce, we want to wish you the very best of luck, and we look forward to having you back the week after you win that first game so that we can get your reaction and the kids' reaction So good luck and look forward to having you here again.
Thank you, sir.
Stay with us, more coming up on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head football coach at Booker T. Washington High School, Brad Calip. And Brad, when we take a look at the Hornets, you have really started the right direction.
Yes, our kids worked hard all summer, and last year we kind of left a little bitter taste, getting beat by Lawton in a playoff, and so those guys worked hard over the spring and summer, and it was a good win for us on Friday against Edmond Santa Fe. So I'm really pleased with our kids.
Well, before we get into detail on Edmond Santa Fe, let's go back to the All-City preview. That's always a good scrimmage, and that's what it's designed for. But talk about that and how that implemented the good way that you played against Edmond Santa Fe.
It's really good to kind of go against other opponents. You go against yourself for all summer and when we start. So it was a great indication of where we're going to be, and we faced some pretty good teams there, and we found some people that thought we were going to be pretty good, and they arose to the occasion. So we played Edison in the finals, who we beat them 7-0, and hats off to TD over there. He has a great team, and but I think we matured as a team overall, and I think that carried over to the next week.
And that's a good program, regardless for the teams that don't win it. It still provides them knowledge of their team that they didn't have before they came into it.
Yeah, it's true. And like all coaches, we just try to look for other people who kind of rise to the occasion. And we have some young kids that, did that. And then we had some older kids that matured who was young last year. And so this team, I really like them. And I think it's going to be some exciting year this year. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, when you come out of the All-City, and then you play Edmond Santa Fe, a team that was ranked number 8 in 6A1. You're ranked number 2 in 6A2. You beat them 35-21. And evidently your offense was good. You score in every quarter, Brad.
Yes, we knew that going into that game that if we let them stick around like they did last year, that it'd probably be in their favor. So our kids rallied the second half. I thought they played outstanding the second half, and we just kind of really controlled the game the second half. Our main concern in that game was probably our quarterback, Philip Wheatley, who last year he kind of struggled with our offense, and this year he took it to the next level, and he was probably the key to our success that Friday night, and he really played well, and that made our other players, our running backs and receivers, play very well. So I was very pleased with him to kind of get our offense going. Of course, our defense played lights out. They had like 84 yards rushing and 100 and something in the air, so I was really pleased overall with both sides of the ball.
So when you go into the game against Edmond Santa Fe, you were pretty much convinced that your kids were ready to play and ready to play a 6A1 team. And as a result of it, they score in every quarter, outscored them 7 in the first half, outscored them 7 in the second half, beat them 14 points. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, well, going in, Mr. Haney, it doesn't always look that way, but I just told our kids that, if we just play hard every quarter, that we have a chance to win a game. And like I said, last year, we came up short took the lead, and they ran a kickoff back on us and ended up beating us 26-23. And then they went on to the second round of the playoffs in 6A won. So Coach White over there, the head coach at Edison Santa Fe, does an outstanding job. It's a team that is big and physical, and that's to beat them. That's kind of Phillips where our team is going to be at this coming year, and that's one game behind us. And we got a tough one coming up. So
now, who do you play this Friday night?
We play Midwest City, and
that's tough.
My best friend Darrell Hall is the head coach, and he does an outstanding job there. So we're looking forward to a good game this coming Friday.
And as I remember from last year, when you play Midwest City, that you know a lot about them and they know a lot about you because of the coaches.
Yes, yeah. Me and Darrell, we played college ball together at East Central University, and me and him, my twin brother who coached at Jeeks, we all kind of in that same mold, coaching mold. So we know each other inside out. And but you know what? It's the players are going to kind of dictate the outcome of that. And we're going to have to play. We'll have to be on an A game like we did last week, and because he's going to come in here and we rank number 2. I think they rank number 3. So it's a TV game. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Brad, kind of talk about some of the kids that have come along this year. Maybe that during the summer you begin to see, hey, that kid is getting better every time we see him. Talk about some of those kids and how they contributed in the win and how they will contribute to future wins.
Of course, I mentioned my quarterback, Philip Wheatley. I thought he played very well, and he's a kid that he has a great cast around. We got great receivers, we got great running backs, and we got a couple of kids that who worked in the weight room. Offensive lineman did a great job of protecting him, and he took advantage of that. So he's one kid that we're really proud that played very well. Thomas Grayson, a kid that as a freshman he got second in the 100 meters, at the state track meet, and he got injured last year and never overcame the ankle injury. And this year, he's a different kid, and he's probably the kid that really is going to turn our program around, because we play McQuarters at running back. Mm-hmm. Those two are, got dual roles. McQuarters is a shake and bake type of guy. And of course, Thomas Grayson is a guy that you got to go catch him. So it's good to have those two type of running backs for a team can prepare for. But I think those two guys really stood out on offense. On defense, of course, you got Dax Hale back there who's playing very well. Jalen Moses is playing lights out, and he's a senior. And of course up front, our linebacker core, Jason Harris, all those guys are playing very well. So we just need to keep the momentum going, and I'll just talk to them that's day in, day out. We just got to take one game at a time. So that's what we're doing.
That's a great way to start a season, when you can come away from Edmond Santa Fe with a victory. Now, starting a little earlier, and they're kind of an extra week, and we just have a few seconds. When do you have a vacant week?
Our vacant week, I think it's like week 7, I believe, that we're going to district play. We'll play 2 games, and then we'll be off, and then we're ended with Santa Fe, Bixby, and Barnesville.
Well, want to wish you the very best of luck and look forward to having you back.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hale.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Gil Cloud coming up next, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue talking to coaches from the Tulsa Public Schools. And we welcome aboard Rod Cline, who is the head softball and baseball coach at Edison High School, your first year, and it's glad to have you aboard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Haney. I appreciate that.
And I think our viewing audience would like to know your background. So kind of give us a background of your coaching and how you have ended up as an Edison Eagle.
Thank you very much. I'd love to do that. 20 years in the business of coaching young men and women and teaching in the classroom and trying to be a shining light in their life when I need to, and maybe a push, here and there in the right direction when I need to. So it's been very enjoyable. But I started out in Western Oklahoma and spent a couple years at Weatherford High School, where I did some basketball and actually had tennis coach for boys and girls, and got introduced to junior high fast pitch softball. So that was my first taste. And then I eventually moved to Jinx. And in 2000, I was, for about 4 years, I began my career there coaching JV fast pitch softball for them. And so I had a little experience as Jinx was kind of building their program, but kind of finished up my tenure there only doing baseball and boys basketball, freshman, and then moved on to Mounds, Oklahoma. And I did a little junior high fast pitch there. And so when Edison's job came open, I was thrilled to see, hey, get a little fast pitch available as well as high school baseball.
And when you look at fast pitch softball, I use this expression, Rod, and sometimes people don't understand it, but I used to coach baseball. And I would say a kid that wasn't throwing good, you throw like a girl. Now with girls fast pitch softball, if I were coaching, I would tell her, throw like a girl. They can throw the softball, and it has become a game that and on television, I watch Oklahoma every time they play on there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Oklahoma Sooners program, just kind of plug them, has been so successful that it's really filtered down to our high school programs. We've had, even local girls such as Erin Miller from Jinx, who has, played and starred and been Big 12 Player of the Year, for the fast pitch Sooner ladies. And so I think that's inspired a lot of our young girls to see that success on TV and to have the fandom, and Oklahoma State also a strong program, and TU's had their moments. So it's really exciting not only for Oklahoma, but I would say especially for Green Country and what we've seen here.
I think it's so interesting to watch the catchers because the pitcher had better duck, and the third baseman on many of the ground balls, the pitcher better duck because they throw such a line across there. Now, take a look. You haven't been to Edison very long, but what have you found out with baseball and girls softball?
Well, fortunately, I'm working for a great leader in Tony Daniels, our athletic director, and he's just been very supportive. And I've also found that our principal, Dixie Spear, she's a former college softball player herself. So I'm really in a great situation where the support is there, where it needs to be, and our facilities are just excellent for TPS. We're really working hard on keeping those fields in shape and keeping our kids involved. But our participation is growing. And right now our girls team, the heart of that team, we've got 4 freshmen that are really carrying the load for us. And then on the baseball side, we've really got an experienced baseball team. So we're looking at an exciting spring in that as that approaches.
Have you been around them long enough to remember all the names, but the returning starters that are coming back, can you talk about those?
Are you talking about fast pitch?
Yes.
In fast pitch, we only have a handful of returning starters, and that's led by our senior second baseman, Ashlyn Bray. And she's doing a great job right now hitting out of the 2-hole. So we're kind of looking at possibly lead off, possibly 2-hole with her, but we like what she has to offer and just great attitude. And then we have, like I said, most of the heart of our team, they're young ladies that were just 8th graders a few months ago, and they're coming out of, what they call competitive, that's their recreational team away from school ball. So just being able to practice every day is a new experience for them. But we are leaning on them as, our battery tends to be, pitcher catcher tends to be freshman, third baseman freshman, shortstop freshman. And so we're really leaning on them. They're having to grow up fast. But it's exciting, and the future's bright for fast pitch.
When I look at the baseball program, who do you have coming back there? What's the issues with them?
They had a solid year last year, around 500, but played a very difficult schedule, 6A schedule. They played in the Owasso Pro 9 tournament, very good competition. And they graduated a few really good players, sent a couple kids to Labette Junior College in Kansas, but have a really good core of pitching coming back. And that's led by Jack Gray, who is a senior. And he pitched well over the summer. Got to see him play not only for our Edison Summer League games, but also his recreational competitive team. But we had a number of our leadership kids, the kids we're going to rely on, who played, again, in our Summer League teams, but also played with ORU. BBA, and then Tulsa Baseball Club, TBC, and then we even had a few other kids playing at lower levels. And but Jack Gray we're looking at for leadership. Tanner Floyd, another one who very good pitcher, also first baseman, third base type, lefty, 3-hole hitter, really solid kid. And we've got 5 seniors we're really going to lean on. So they've got good experience coming back, returning starters, and each class has a handful of players who are going to contribute. So we're not going to have to lean on freshmen at the high school baseball level. We will probably start and really lean on upperclassmen, and that's a good place to be in. We're really looking to grow this year.
Well, Rod, we are certainly glad to have you aboard here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Want to wish you the very best of luck, and you've convinced me you're going to have good teams at Edison.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a privilege to be here.
Stay with us. More coming up on Inside Tulsa Athletics right after this.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
1 in 5 children struggle with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to understood.org.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
We continue Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head cross-country coach at Edison High School, Matt McAfee. And Matt, welcome aboard, and you're getting ready to really get involved in cross-country.
That's correct. Thank you for having me.
When you take a look at cross-country, I think you have to have kind of a different athlete. And as a coach, you have to sell it on them. But once they get hooked on that running, then you really have a good grip on them, don't you?
Absolutely.
Well, tell us about how you do that.
We talk a lot about at Edison about grit and perseverance, and that's what you need as a cross-country runner. So we, like you said, we attract a certain kind of student that wants to come aboard. They're usually not someone that's going to want to go out and play football or another sport, but they have something in them that drives them individually. And so we just tried to let them know that this is still a team sport, and we're still trying to win. We're trying to get to state. That's our whole goal. So if we can get them to enjoy the run, and if they can run a mile without stopping, without crying, then they're going to be okay.
And if they can run a mile, then you can get that time down every time they do it, can't
Absolutely.
you? You know, when you take a look at track, and you mentioned something there, that it's made up basically of young men and young women that don't want to play another sport.
Sure.
And with the boys' track, they don't want to play football. They want to go out there and run.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I just greatly appreciate, enjoy watching them.
Absolutely.
And I know as coaching, you do the same thing.
Yes, we do. We take pride in the athletes that come out for Edison Cross Country, and it's been a joy the last 3 years to be there and see what they've been able to do.
Well, kind of talk about what's coming up with the cross country team, where you're going and what you might do, and the results of those particular events.
Sure. Well, we just came back from our very first meet over the weekend, and we had a lot of great success. We had a first place by a runner by the name of Christian Chavez, and so he was able to get a gold medal, and that was just a huge thing for him. We got several other medals in different divisions, a couple of second places, third place, and so forth. So we came back from that with 11 medals total, and that was just a great showing for us. And now we'll have a bye week for the Labor Day holiday and go into the Broken Arrow meet when we return. So that will be a lot tougher, and we'll see what happens, but we can learn a lot when we fail. So we'll go see what happens and make it better for the next one.
The Broken Arrow meet, will that be teams from across the state that are highly ranked in cross country?
They will be highly ranked teams. I'm not sure if any teams from Western Oklahoma will make it over, but it's going to be a lot of 5 and 6A teams that will be there. So it's going to be some tough competition, but we'll be ready for it.
Is this a type of event that your kids look forward to?
Absolutely. We have true competitors in our cross country program. So they enjoy what they just had, which was a meet where they were able to have success, but they're really going to look forward to being challenged at Broken Arrow and some of the other meets that we'll be going to.
This is a question that comes up with me all the time when I'm talking cross country. What do those kids do in the summer? I mean, when you start to school and you have events, what do they do?
Sure. Well, they get started right away, like you said. So we have to start our training in the summertime. And at Edison, what we've been able to do is create a program that cross-trains them. So we operate 5 days a week, and we do a swimming and a bike day in between those days. So that way they don't get tired and have injuries during their summer training. It really allows them to build up the mileage, but stay off their feet a couple days a week, and we get them ready to roll the first day of school.
When you take a look at those kids who are running a mile, what do you normally encourage them to run it in?
If they're just starting out, our biggest thing is just to try to make sure our JV team doesn't walk. If we can just get them out there and run without walking, that's our first goal. I don't care what their pace is on it. But after that, for the boys, we're trying to get them under 8 minutes on a mile.
Well, Matt, we want to wish you the very best of luck, and I think it's always great that you have a program such as that for the kids that are not involved in any other program, and they can come out there and start it. And then they may end up in track in the spring, but it's been a pleasure having you aboard, and look forward, after some great wins, having you back.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
We continue inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard Shelby Swanson, who is the head volleyball coach at Booker T. Washington High School, and I might say a very successful volleyball coach. Don't you feel that way?
Well, sometimes, yes. Thank you. Appreciate you saying that.
It kind of bring us up to date. I know in volleyball you start back in July. Now here we're toward the end of August. Bring us up to date on how they have come and some of the games that you've played.
Yeah, so we have started our season. We've been practicing for about a month now, but we just started games within the last couple of weeks. So we've been working hard in the gym. We have a pretty young team, but they've been kind of just getting their chemistry. We've been working out our different lineups, finding the right places for everyone. And we've kind of been hitting a stride these last couple weeks as we've had our first 2 weeks of our actual games this season. So just this last Thursday, we had a win over Bixby, and we also had a win over Bartlesville and Heritage Hall 2 weeks ago. So we are on a little bit of a winning streak now, and so we're just hoping to continue that throughout the rest of our season.
Well, talk about some of the players maybe that you didn't expect to do what they're doing and the success that you're having right here at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so I mean, starting back when we had tryouts, back in May, we had a couple freshmen show up that I had never even seen before, and we were really excited because they were incredibly talented, just some really awesome athletes. And so we have our setter who's starting and running our offense is a freshman, and she's a very new setter, but she's doing a really great job. And one of our middle hitters is also a freshman, Tia Grappato. And so both these girls are getting better every day. They're kind of leading our team in some ways, which is cool to see, having them be so young. And we also have a few returners. Cammie Cole is our libero, who's probably one of the top liberos right now for our stats in digging and defense. And then we also have a couple anchor outsides that are a senior and a middle, a senior and a junior outside and middle. Callie Hall, and Emily King are two of our big hitters that are doing really well this season. So,
you know, when you look at a team out of Booker T. Washington High School, there has been so much success in all sports at Booker T. Washington. Does that help you in volleyball as you get, say, a new student, a new player in as a freshman that hasn't been there? Do they play like, hey, you're a champion at Booker T. Washington?
I think it does. We definitely have had quite a bit of success in the volleyball program, especially considering we have been playing 6A in the past, and being the smallest 6A school, we're usually up there in the top 10 schools in the state. And so I think having girls come in, they definitely know that we produce good athletes and we expect excellence in our program. And so they usually rise to the challenge, and I think it kind of helps motivate them to do well. So
now we have about a minute left in the program. Kind of look in the future. You've mentioned 3 games that you've played and you won. What is in the future, schedule-wise and toughness-wise with teams?
Yeah, so this week we actually have a game tomorrow against Bishop Kelly, who's ranked in the top 5 in 5A, which we are now competing in 5A, which is exciting for us. But we'll be playing Bishop Kelly, and they are historically a really great volleyball team, so we're looking forward to going up against them and hopefully coming out with a big win. And we also play Union later this week, which is a huge program and is usually really good. So those are our games we have upcoming this week. We also will be playing Coweta, Edison, East Central. We'll be playing Owasso, as well as some other schools in the upcoming weeks. So we have a pretty tough schedule for a 5A team. We're playing lots of big 6A schools, as well as some of our top 5A schools in volleyball. So we got a tough schedule, but I think the girls are going to rise to the challenge. So.
Well, are they looking forward to the playoffs and what they can do? We have about 30 seconds.
Yeah, we're all really looking forward to it. The girls are really motivated to get a bid and hopefully do well and have some success at state. And so they're really motivated. We're hoping to be able to host regionals, which will be early October. So they're very excited, and we're pushing on towards the future. So.
Well, Shelby, we want to wish you the very best of luck. And what you have told us thus far, I think that you'll be back here on Inside Tulsa Athletics in the future.
Great, thank you.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
1 in 5 children struggle with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to understood.org.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, Gil Cloud. And Gil, always a pleasure having you aboard on the first show of the year.
You know, it's always great to be starting a new year, and we're excited this year. Obviously, we've had a lot of management opportunities, budget-wise, and things that we'll talk about in the second segment. But it's always great to see the kids get out and start playing and running and on the softball field and the volleyball court, everything. We've been going obviously since July the 15th, which is the official start date for practice with our teams, and of course our football teams on August 7th. So we've had kids on campus now for a month and a half.
Well, when you take a look at what's going on, the Oklahoma Secondary School Activity Association, they're going through some rather troubled times, I think I could say, but David Jackson does a good job of being on top of it and being able to bring them under control.
Well, you know, David, when he moved in as the executive director last year, we were excited about that opportunity for all of our student athletes in our schools, our member schools in the OSSAA. David has a wealth of knowledge, been 22 years at the office. Of course, he was in town last week with us and shared some information, I think, with us. And then last Wednesday, I'm on the Constitution Rewrite Committee for the OSSAA. We want to look at various portions of that to look at, see if it's archaic and needs to be updated. And so I was with him again on Wednesday, and of course, always a pleasure to be with the executive director and the staff at the OSSAA. A lot of people misunderstand, you know, what their role is, but basically, and I'll say this at the outset of this show, the OSSAA is like the NCAA. It's a member-driven organization. We vote as member schools on all the rules and regulations. The people in the office just carry those things out. So they're not the bad guys, like everybody says. You know, I listen to these sports talk shows on radio, and they're always talking about, oh, how dumb the NCAA is. Well, the NCAA is just as dumb as the members because they're just carrying out the rules that the members have voted for. So I think that's something that we'll be looking at with the OSSA this year to see if that Constitution needs to be brought up to date in certain areas.
You know, I think that's something that more people really need to understand. And I think about this with the OSSAA because David Jackson is the type of person, and I've known him for a long time like you, that he really wants to do what the members want done. And if the members don't want it and don't vote it to get done, and then they'll blame him.
Exactly.
And that's not right.
No, it's not right, but I think that's a part of the game that you play when you get into a role like that. Somebody has to be the final say yes or no, and if you get into that situation, you've got to have the guts to be able to make those kinds of decisions. And, you know, I've always looked at it from the standpoint that I've been in, you know, this will be my 40th year as an athletic director. I've got to look at what's good for the greater number of student athletes that are involved in the program. May not be best for the coaches, may not be best for the parents, but what's best for our kids? Because on a day-to-day basis, those kids are going to spend 8 to 10 hours with us every day. And their health and their welfare and their education depends on the kind of experience they have in our programs.
And Gil, that is a great point, and that's a point that you've taken well, but why can't they understand that when we look at it across the general public of in talking about education on a high school level?
You know, it's hard sometimes to understand that. People like us who've been in the business our entire life certainly have seen the growth and development of young people as they come through and they mature. And most of them, you know, that come through there get a direct benefit from participation in interscholastic activities. You know, I had a young man in my office this summer, which was really interesting. I had not seen him since I coached him at McAllister, which was 1974. And but we'd stayed in touch, and friends on Facebook. His name was Joe Jackson. And Joe Jackson mentioned that he runs his business today based on the principles that he learned the 2 years that we were together at McAllister. He said it means more to him, and he has the second largest livestock in North America herd that he runs every single day in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. But that's great to hear those kind of things, because you want to know that what you're doing is right for kids. But when it makes that much of an impact on a person's life, then you know what you did was right. And we have so many coaches out there today in TPS that are doing those kinds of things. I think on today's show epitomizes that. I think we had 4 or 5 guys come in today that really care about kids, they care about their program, and they look beyond whatever sport it is that they're coaching. It's how are we helping this kid develop and mature.
Well, you know what you said, it just jumped to my mind because of the young coach that you've brought in to coach at Hale, Bruce Munden. I mean, it seems to me like that he really is dedicated to the kids and not to the win and loss column.
I'm going to tell you, and another thing that's great about him, he's an outstanding math teacher. There's no question. And he does a great job with that. So that's what we want to find is the total consummate coach who not only operates well on the field, but also operates well in the classroom. It's very important to me as an administrator, knowing that in this district, we have very competent people with our kids every day.
And you know, that's something that will just stay with a lifetime. And so many coaches have impact out of athletics in doing what you're talking about.
Oh, you're right. You're exactly right.
Gil, we need to take a break here, and then we want to come back and talk about the budget reductions. But again, we want to say a compliment to David Jackson and the OSSAA for what they do for athletics, not only in Tulsa Public Schools, but for the schools throughout the state of Oklahoma. Stay with us. We're back with Gil Cloud, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, right after this.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue visiting with the Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, Gil Cloud. And Gil, something that we didn't mention with the OSSAA is the open week. And I don't think our viewers understand that.
Well, one of the things that's come up across the country is should there be a dead week during the year where the student athletes do not do anything athletic related. And our committee that met last week to rewrite the Constitution is very much in favor of that. What we're dealing with now is when will that be? And what we've kind of landed on at this point is the 1st through the 7th of July. It would be called Dead Week. No facilities, public school, member school facilities could be used. No coaches that are employed by the schools could coach. And for 1 week, there would be no activity. Now, we're not naive enough to know there won't be any activity because somebody will find some place to go. YMCAs and boys clubs and church gymnasiums and so on. But at least from our standpoint, we feel like that it's something that's very, very important. And literally, we even discussed having dead weeks during the season. You know, in Kansas, when football, the fall season's over, football, cross-country, volleyball's over, for 1 week before they start basketball practice, there's nothing that goes on in the school. And the same thing occurs in the spring. And that's not a bad thing either. We need kids to be able to rebuild their bodies and their muscles and take a break from the day-to-day competitive atmosphere that they're in. So I think that's one that's going to cause a lot of concern, but we're going to move forward with that one.
Well, I tell you, I couldn't agree more, because I think it is so important that they take a break and allow the muscles and everything they've been using in that sport to kind of redo themselves.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I wanted to mention, and we'll get into this a little bit more in depth when we are visiting next week, I think it's important that we have a real look at the budget and how the budget is working. The budget situation, that we went through this past year was very difficult. It is a situation that where we've lost over 130 teams, over 180 coaching positions with those teams, and yet we're still maintaining what we're doing. And I think to look at those numbers, we're going to have to look at those numbers, and we're going to have to be able to make those things work in the future. We're looking at some things to change in the next year that hopefully will get the numbers back where they need to be.
And Gil, don't you think that's something that the general public is not aware of?
I think they haven't, the longevity of the continued budget cuts over a period of time. I don't know if they really see that. We're going to do an exhaustive bit on numbers and how the numbers work. And are we losing numbers? Mm-hmm. And is that a direct reflection on the budgets?
Well, I know one thing for sure, that that is a problem that does have to be solved.
It does have to be solved, and it's everybody has to solve.
Well, Gil, we're running out of time here, and it's always been a pleasure having you aboard, and look forward to 2 weeks when we come back with a new show of Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Sounds great.
Stay with us here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education?
What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Thanks for being with us today on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we certainly would like to encourage you to support the athletic programs of the Tulsa Public Schools, whichever district you live in. Go by and support that athletic program. They need all of us behind them, and we enjoyed having you with us. And again, join us again next week inside Tulsa Athletics.